Hi, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural broadcast of Overwatch Contenders Trials for the European region. I am John, Kick Tripod Horseman, joined today by none other than Panda. Panda, good morning. You've had quite the morning. Congrats on the new power supply unit, though, and a working internet connection.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, if there's definitely one way to be optimistic about it, it's joining this wonderful morning by your cheeky self, Kick Tripod. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we have a match between Team One.PoinT and Singularity Esports. One.PoinT coming in at 1-1, Singularity Esports coming in at 0-2. We're going to Ilios right away, and we're actually starting right now. Blank, leg day. Go ahead, guys. Take it away. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, leg day here with Blank, and we're getting straight into this on Ilios. It will be Singularity going up against One.PoinT. We're going to be starting off on Lighthouse, and straight away it is going to be One.PoinT coming out with the 3-3. Moving straight on to point. Meanwhile, it's going to be Singularity up above them with that more dive-based composition, Blank.
Yeah, so they want to get onto this point as soon as possible. Tank does count the dive very hard here. Moving in will be nerfed on the backside, doing some aggression. We'll get a lot of electric damage to these front lines, but quickly hit out by the Reinhardt. Managed to get out of there about 100 HP though.
Phasing him on down, Fal killed himself with a barrage on a shield. I believe it managed to demake Bruce in the process, but it is going to be One.PoinT with the first cap here, and Nerf's going to come and try to get straight on him. They can't afford to let them accrue that much percentage here, but One.PoinT has other designs. They're going to be forcing Singularity out, dropping one by one. Oling's coming in with a melee. Widowmaker trying his best to get in there with the SMG. Taking Scaler within an inch of his life, but will fall eventually.
This is exactly what I was talking to One.PoinT about earlier today. They said they wanted to win these first maps out on Koth. They did not want to lose them early, and this means they can accrue more ult percentage and win these upcoming fights.
Absolutely so. Nerf once again on top, laying down the Tesla cannon damage, racking the nerves of Mosasa, but we do know this man is steeled within his army. He's ready to take any assault that should come his way.
And the good thing for Fal here that we're seeing is he's already built up another barrage, had won the first fight, and that's kind of the downsides of playing this tank setup, is that Fal will hit these barrages so quickly, and if he gets two players with the barrage and dies, that's still great value.
So many mitigating factors though. Already he's been beset upon by the D.Va, didn't get killed midway through, and now the Graviton Surge coming through. Malfig caught within there, Mosasa swinging for the fences, once again Singularity destroyed as they move in. They are coming in with a silver lining though, Blank. Give it to me straight. What have they got in the bank?
They have a lot here. They got 4 ultimates. It'd be nerfed with the Primal Rage, can extend this fight a little bit longer. And Obling, he does have the Riptide as well, so can take out a couple of these players on the point, including Horfix, which will be one of these major key targets to take out. But they have the armor on top of that now. 150 armor from the rally coming out from Horfix, as we are playing on that 1.22 patch at the moment.
Obling coming in with a tire. It's going to be a distracting tactic coming through from Mosasa, who lays down the hammer but doesn't get much from that. He's taken up by Nerf. He was separated from his team. The healing wasn't there, and Scaler's going to go down as well. The main healing from Amoira ripped apart by Fal, who's now coming in viciously, taking out Horthic. This man wants to take every single support into his kill feed, and with 99% on the board for One.PoinT, it will be Singularity trying to take this back, but absolute perfection is now demanded on Ilios.
Yeah, so they only have one last fight, and it could be One.PoinT taking this one across. Nerf actually managed to hold onto that Primal Rage, and Malfig also has the D.Va bomb. They said to look out for Malfig in these fights. He's been playing extremely well, but it looks like One.PoinT has the right idea. They were getting rid of Obling early in that fight so they can continue in, but now they're switching up the setups. Frost switches over to the Widow, try to get those shots onto Fal in the air, and Scaler's now on Zen, so they increase damage from the Transcend. So from the Disco Orb is going to be extremely helpful when taking down Nerfed.
Huge source of damage with Fal on that Thera. Coming out with yet another barrage, managed to pick up 2 players. With Mosasa being res, this may now well be time for One.PoinT to go on in. Obling taken down for mobbing run, coming in from above. Horthic going to be claiming that kill, and now he's got so many more players in his sights. There's Nerf, but he has to pop the Primal Rage. 1000 extra HP to keep sustained within this. Malfig's going to throw in the self-destruct, and Scaler can't get away. The slow Omnic legs won't touch the floor, floating lackadaisically out of the range, but isn't going to be able to escape. And One.PoinT, they're going to have to go for a reset here. A Singularity, they're going to trickle up, Blank, almost 65% now.
Invested by Malfig was the D.Va bomb towards the end of that fight, took out Scaler, but this might give the opportunity to One.PoinT to save this one now. Now, we do see Lind. He has the Transcendence as well, so they can keep him alive a little bit longer, and Mono can pop this Valkyrie early in the fight to increase that tempo as they come in. Bruceon has to make a huge Diva bomb at this point, and Horfik wants to build that barrage as well as. So far, Foul's been getting so much potential value out of that barrage, and his reaction speed's been on point. The switch onto Malzaza as he came onto him was great, and forced the res out early in that fight, so they do not want that to happen again.
Frost didn't have reaction time, so caught out by the Riptide. Fall under pressure and in the air, there will be the Diva Bomb, but no one's going to be caught there, out there. And now Horfik coming down with Barrage. Looks like nothing's going to be gained from that. Does manage to survive the entirety of the castle, and now Fall is raining down one rocket after another. Frost falls yet again, but not before giving a special delivery to Nerf. Only 300 damage coming out from that particular Pulse Bomb, but it's going to be enough to remove the Monkey from the area. It's last fight territory, 99 to 99, and 1 point are moving on to a point. Horfik's going to take down Lin. He's got his eyes now on Mono, tries to get off for Rez, but it's taken away. Bruce Samel with a knockback to interrupt that, and now Molfig desperately clinging to life on the point is going to manage to get a D-Mech in kind, but hers is going to last so long, and Foul coming in with the emergency barrage, kills himself on the wall. Obling trying to pick up the slack foe. There's is Vataya, 2 supports of 1 point down, but Nerf's the only one on the point going up against 2 DPS. The point comes through in terms of 1 point. Lind is down. They're all trying their best to get on, but overtime will tick down, and 1 point will claim Lighthouse.
Molfig stayed on the point as long as he could. That went down with his arms swinging. But it will be Singularity taking that one, and from a 0 to 99%, that is one hell of a feat. So they will be going over now onto Ruins, and this is a map that heavily favors Widowmaker. It will be Lind. Just hovering on that Sorrow, goes back over to the Zen now. Scalar has Transcendence now on the Zenya, and Frost will be moving on to Widow as well. So this team, very flexible on 1 point. They can play free DPS, they can play free. They're very prepared for any comp they come into. And what they wanted to do here is they wanted to go for comps that their team didn't quite suspect. And this is what they exactly go for here. So it will be Singularity not knowing exactly what's going to happen, but they are 1 up now.
Well, Contenders and Open Division have showed us for Obling and Frost are respectively very adept on these Widowmakers, and we're going to be battling for supremacy here in Contenders Trials, and Obling's going to strike first blood. That going down, and now the only healing available is going to be Scalar, and you can't heal for headshots. Obling, early dominance being asserted here, taking out both his counterpart and the most effective target. Singularity going to back onto the point, get themselves a quick cap, and start accruing percentage.
Yeah, so 1 point been pushed back here, and this is a team that heavily favors escort maps and hybrid maps. They can play this tank comps very well as dive and that free DPS. So that's the COF maps are not really what they're known for. Horfik gets taken out, a very quick clip from File there. But this is not the map that they're favored on.
In a row that Obling's taken out both Frost and that in quick succession. So Obling's feeling very happy right now. He does have his infra site, which is going to make the next incursion from 1 point even more dangerous, because of course they are going to be moving into the infra sites of Obling. He's going to know where everyone is, as is the remainder of Team Singularity as well. And if they want to plan a dive onto an unsuspecting target like Scalar.
Yeah, so now Team Singularity has control of the point, as well as like they can start building up these ultimates, and the Infrasight is just going to make 1 point back off for a little bit longer, then they accrue some more points and put themselves in even more favorable position. We'll see if Obling can still remain contending with Frost, or will Frost go down in this fight.
Molfig picking up the double both for supports of 1 point down. Now they just need to get the heck out of dodge. No healing is going to be there to sustain them. And Frost is trying to bring it back by taking out Lind. Bruceon joining the fray as well. But despite all these kills, I don't know if 1 point have the sustain to stay in here. Frost is trying his best though. He's taking out both DPS now. But he's still not on the point. They don't have the bodies to put there. And Frost being challenged out now on the long con from Lind. Question is he going to be able to stay here for long? His supports have come back. Fatsid is back, giving him that all-important healing beam, meaning that the Winston cannot kill him. Equal DPS to healing right here, and he's going in with the SMG, taking him on down, and with Molfig just trading his body for percentage here. It looks like it could all be over for Team Singularity in terms of this hole.
Frost getting very upset with Obling on the other team, taking all the spotlight and wants some for his own. Now he has the Infrasight as well, but 84% on the side of Team Singularity is going to make it difficult. We saw it last game, 99% to 0%. They took it back. I mean, what's to say 1 point can't do the same? That has Valkyrie, though, for this fight, as well as Mono. It will be nerfed with that Primal Rage, trying to keep him on point, but 1 point are looking very, very healthy on the side of ultimates.
They are indeed. And Team Singularity, they have time here. They can just maybe bait out a few ultimates, trade them for time in terms of attacks being rebuffed. And Team Singularity, they can easily build up to 2 support ultimates here, but no, Mono's going to straight away go in with a Valkyrie, which is very risky going into a Widowmaker.
Yeah, and at one point can just kind of back off now as the aggression comes on through. Far in the backline now, working his way up towards a pulse bomb, wants to take out Lind here.
Absolutely he does, but Openly's going to strike first blood. Frost falls down and File's now trying to come in. Doesn't have himself a pulse one just yet. He used the previous one. Can't stick that to a Resurrecting Mercy. He's got his eyes. Offers Yala coming in from a back. He's so low. Scalar is eventually going to be taken out by his Danish brethren. But Bruceson coming in with a revenge. And 1 point. They're filling up the kill feed with red blank. The blood is flowing in Team Singularity despite the investment given. Will not be able to take the point. And 1 point now needs to win maybe 1 or 2 fights in order to claim the entirety of Ilios.
They did use up all the bank of 1 point now, so they're feeling very poor at the moment. Molfig has that Diva Bomb though, and Lind also to extend this fight even longer. 1 point though, been showing themselves very well in these extended fights, able to continue going. In fact, using that res opportune moments, bringing Frost up there. But I'd like to really highlight Fall at the moment. There's evasive maneuvers from on the Tracer and also on the Pharah have been impeccable so far. But he gets taken down to Horfig. We know Horfig can clip you.
He can indeed. The question is Oberlin going to be able to win out the duel here? He gets a headshot on Frost, but it wasn't charged enough to do the 200 damage. A little bit of a scuffed shot there from Oberlin despite the hit. And now 99% in terms for 1 point. But they lost the point. They didn't get on it. They couldn't contest. And now Team Singularity, they're going quickly up to 99%. Winner takes all in this fight blank. Scalar's back, courtesy of Fat. Almost there with a Transcendence, but he's not going to get a chance. A special delivery from Fal. That's your Pizza Express delivery coming in. Going to be pretty dangerous for you. Diabetes is a menace. But you know who else is a menace, blank? Oberlin here with Widowmaker, trying his best to take out the ever-evasive Horfig. He needs to hit this shot.
You can't hit it. Sidestepping, back and forth. NFL player in action at the moment. Nerf gets res back up again in this fight, and Frost back onto the Sombra now, just to buy them a little bit more valuable seconds on the point.
And there is the Transcendence coming out from Scalar's going to keep Fat nice and healthy, but Oberlin's still here with a burst damage. Should it be required? Fat's already fallen down, so Scalar, no healing remains for 1 point. And they have got a few points of HP left. Bruceson gets hit with the Pulse Bomb. Going to bring out all of the self-destruct to try and get himself back in the fight. We'll get a quick demech, but he's demech once again by the SMG. Team Singularity just swarming now. It's all blue in the kill feed blank. I think we're running out of lives on the side of 1 point, and we're tied up here on Ilios. Once again, it was 99 to 99%.
That was it was one hell of a match there, leg day. So extended, showing how close these teams are together, and they will close it not 1-1. So now it really is a winner takes all. No one can draw on these tough maps. It will be whoever takes this one. So this is a map playing on Lighthouse, heavily favors Orisa comps. You can pull people into the pit in the middle. See how they play it out. 1 point again, they want to go for this unexpected play, unexpected comp, because they know they can play around anything. But they want to win this first fight out this game. They do not want to lose out on this one.
Okie dokie. Horfig once again coming out on that Sombra. And I say once again, we haven't actually seen it yet this match, but we saw it a lot during Open Division blank, and it was one of his more impressive picks, I think, because he usually utilized it quite well. And 1 point, we're very good at working around these hack targets and quickly removing them. And Fal needs to be incredibly careful in the air here when he can potentially be hacked and fall down into that well. Remember, targets that go into the well cannot be resurrected.
Yeah, Horfig on the Sombra, you were talking about earlier, though, it's a good pick. But the only problem is, though, it's on such a strong Brigitte patch, Sombra gets nerfed very hard. So it becomes very awkward when any team switches off. Time being, it works so well against Fal's Mercy Pharah combo.
That it does, but Horfig's already down. They traded up for Lind early, but now Scalar's being accosted from above. He is actually going to manage to survive and take out Molfig as he does so. This is amazing survivability, but not for that long. Far's had enough of his shenanigans. The old caster curse coming on through. At 1 point, despite a more slow attack than I was expecting, they did pick up Lind early, but then backed off. They did manage to get the first cap here.
Yeah, using those buildings to great effect. I mean, the rockets can't hit you if you've got a nice roof above your head. Frost now has the pulse bomb as well. It's not going to help too much against Fal in the sky unless Tracer gets a buff to a throwing arm, which she doesn't really have one at the moment. Scalar has that
Just
coalescence
shot
as well as which. yeah, like Olympic champion here. Scalar does have the coalescence though, so that can fall off for the time being. But needs to choose where to use it on targets.
Well, speaking of Olympic sports, Mozasa did the high jump point all the way back to the moon. Banished there by Fall coming in with a barrage. The EMP not yet available for Horthic, but Fat's going to be trying to back it up. The sand barrier came down and Frost removed Nerf with the pulse bomb. He has been resurrected, however, so he's back into this, and he does have a prime rage now for an additional 1,000 HP. You're not going to be able to pop it, though. Horthic from the back with a cheeky hack, removing his ability to get mad. Shall we say that the hack was actually a little bit of anger management? Maybe. Mono desperately trying to get away, but Horthic's going to be laying down that long-range damage with the SMG pistol, and he's going to take him down. Now, Team Singularity, they've got to be worrying, Blank.
Oh, you know what you're going to do to a monkey who's furious? You're never going to tell them calm down, and that's exactly what Horthic did now. So Team Singularity is going to be coming back into the site with a new invigorated power. So it will be up to Horthic to maybe get a couple more of those sessions in to keep Nerfed off the point for a little bit longer, but both teams have a large ult bank. It will be how these primal rages are used in these fights, and if that EMP is huge.
Oh, Nerf, you're not going to like that. Hack twice and burst it down twice. No time to even use that all-important ultimate. Scalar's going to bring in the coalescence as well, which I find surprising given the early falling of Nerf. Then Fal's going to swap over now from the Pharah onto the Sombra. Might be a little bit late for that, my buddy. Lin using his Transcendence to get onto a point. He managed just to get there and bring in overtime, but he's already going to be accosted by two Flankers and a Moira as well. There's no room to survive. But finally, Nerf managed to get off a Primal Rage. However, Anger Time is cancelled, Blank. And now, Singularity, they're falling one by one. Mono's trying his best. The Valkyrie suit isn't going to protect you for long against the attentions of Frost. Getting frozen out here as One.PoinT will claim Ilios.
1 point. Absolutely amazing plays from them. Horthic, man. 3 times the charm, and he put they put Nerfed in therapy 3 times, and that kept him out of this one. But just enough time for them to take this point. It really was just 1 point playing as that team, just as a single unit, and it seemed like Singularity were quite playing as Team Singularity, single players scattered around the map at the moment.
Well, we do know from Pit that Team Singularity do like to run this 3-3, but it is also worth noting that Contenders Trials is played on a previous patch, a patch which Overwatch League is currently being played on 1.22, I believe it's called. And that includes a stronger Brigitte with 20% uptime on the Shield Bash stun should it be required. But we can always say that 3-3 isn't always the best composition for a control map, as you can have a lot of environmental kills put against you, but you don't care about how much healing 3 supports give, because environmental kills are instant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on Cough maps, it's a little different because you're always fine, right? And against tank comms, when Fall brings out the power combo, she's always pumping in damage, right? Because the fights are always happening. So these kind of spam compositions gain their ultimate so quickly. 1 point, we're able to kind of circumvent that by playing better as a team, but it did put them in dire straits at times. But it is strange, though, because in this match at the moment, we have this kind of trifecta. We have a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. So dive counters Orisa spam, and then you have spam counter in tanks, and then tanks counter in dive. So it really is how we can outplay opponents. But that means these teams have to have such a huge hero pool to be playing all 3 of these team comps at the moment. So flexibility is a huge thing in this patch.
Not only that, but you need to be effectively coached in how to use each of those 3 compositions. You can't just sit on the heroes and say, okay, we're dive now, and we are instantly good at dive. You got to have the coaching and the theory crafting behind it. You got to put time into each of these compositions, and it can really define teams as to where their coaches decide to put their time in terms of which of the compositions are going to be most effective. But to fill you all in at home, we are now going to be heading over to Hybrid, now potential maps of Blizzard World in Kings Row.
Yeah, so for Team 1 point, at least, I know that they really love Blizzard World because they play these maps, hybrid maps, very well because they're around 3-3 at the moment. Losing to Bazooka Puppy, who played 3-3 extremely well, and they played 3-3 into them. They really wanted to up their game, so they put the homework in, and now they're playing this 3-3 comp very well, and they have a pocket pick of free DPS, where with Bruceson off tank onto DPS now, and they use that to just really burn through the big targets on this point.
Yeah, burning through all of those big targets. Question is, how many big targets are going to be presented by the other team? Singularity, let's talk about their record, Blank. They fell out of Contenders. So in terms of a path to pro, sort of like, echelons of skill, they should be favored here, but moving in, Singularity are currently 0-2.
Yeah, they've had a tough move so far. They're a heavy tank team, like we've said before. We're not sure what's going on, but these open division teams, they seem to be really proving themselves at the moment. The new talent coming out from the woodworks, if you'd like to say. But they have been playing against tough teams. Singularity, they played against, we have Org, who we know are 7-1. 6-2 actually, sorry, and when they've played against Bazooka Puppies, who are 7-1. So these are two teams that you shouldn't scoff at them. They're at the top at the moment. 1Point is at the moment 4th on the ladder with, I believe it is a 1-1. So 1Point, they have 1 point loss and they have 1 point win. So they're not doing too badly. So this is potentially a game that Singularity could come into and win. But at the moment, it's not looking too great. They did take a map off 1Point though, which is a good thing.
Yep. But this has been a pretty close map thus far. Ilios 1-1, or rather 2-1, should I say? And those the ones which 1Point have won both went to 99-99, as far as I'm aware. No, my memory is so bad, blank. The last one was 0-99. But what I'm saying is that Ilios was pretty close, and I do believe I just heard it going into map sound from our clean feed.
Oh, I also heard that noise. We use sound cues here at Broadcast.gg. We're always listening in. So yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry. We're good. So we're moving into mouse race. I would hope. Oh, we're gonna listen for it.
Your hopes have been answered, Blank. It's Kings Row. It's the hometown of you and I. Well, not the hometown, but the home country at least of you and I. Picked by the Danes this time. And why not? This is a great map for tanks, so you can understand why they would be going to Kings Row, given that they can crack out that 3-3 again should they desire.
Exactly. So this is where we'll probably see 1Point move onto that free DPS comp. They don't want to be playing free, but that's what they do with Bazooka Puppies, and it did not work out so well. So now they're moving on to focusing more of this free DPS pocket pick that they are using. So it's 1, the tank team, they can't reach you, and 2, once you're putting all that spam in from the Farah in the air and the other DPS, you generate ult charge so fast that teams just can't contend with that.
Yeah, you can definitely have trouble contending with the level of ult generation that can come out from spam comps when you're providing both that much health to chunk through and the healing available. So 1Point now, they're swapping over. They are in the blue. Team Singularity going to be in the red, attacking first here. Whereas 1Point are coming out with a pretty beefy composition. They've got 3 supports, if we continue to call Brigades a support. The boots on the ground, fire combination, and Frost is going to be their sole DPS on the Widowmaker.
So there's a lot of faith been put in Frost here. Hopefully she doesn't freeze up. But as they go into this map, that is a haha right there. But hopefully she doesn't freeze up into it. She needs to be putting in the damage, but definitely don't call Malzahar and Bruce in a slump. This combo Zarya Ryan can do a huge amount of damage, and including with Horfik as well on the Brigitte, it's going to be tough to push through that front line and give Frost a lot of space to work with.
Fall already having been eliminated, Nerf's going to try and get rid of Mozasa, but he just charged himself into the back of the hotel. We're going to have to check in, and you're going to have to get your bags later, son. Team Singularity, they're stalled out here. 1Point still sitting on the point, nice and happy. Mozasa's ready to swing in, and he's almost already got the air shot, and down it goes! And down go a couple members of Team Singularity. Malphig's going to be losing his mech here, and Mozasa, the Metallic Titan, just going to be stomping forward and stomping all over the Danish side. That's enough of that. You've had enough on your first attack. Malphig desperately trying to get his mech back. It looks like he just fed a huge amount of ult to 1Point in the process. And look, Brewson's already got himself a Graviton. Look how much charge he's got compared to Wobley.
Yeah, well, this is something I really loved here. Is they gave Horfik and Malzahar, so they're playing as a unit, right? So Horfik can pretty much keep Malzahar alive. The new cone angle on the shield mesh doesn't help either because no one can get near to Malzahar. And Bruson, it's just been focused on by Fat and it will be Scalar here to keep him alive as long as possible. Sorry, Wobbly.
And now Bruson ready to try and carve through the sound barrier laid down by Mono. Is it going to save anyone? It didn't save Nerf. Frost managed to get him with a pulse bomb, and Malzahar charged into the midst of Team Singularity, was deftly punished by Obling. The charge coming in handy there to melt his way through the armor of Malzahar. But 1Point, despite the loss of their main tank, sitting pretty on the point. Team Singularity have used about half their time available here, and Malzahar's back in the fray.
Yeah, Brewston just throwing out those mortar bombs. He wants to build up that Graviton as soon as possible. But Malzahar back in the fight. Fat brought him back up. I think his res just came off cooldown, so he won't have that in this fight. But Scalar has it, and then he's keeping him alive a little bit longer. Malzahar drops the Ocean though.
Graviton versus Graviton right here. Brewston's trying to chase out Nerf. He's getting himself a whole lot of charge again. The degree to which this man is accruing charge and Gravitons, I believe he's got 2 Gravitons in the time that Obling has got 1. And once again, he's on double the charge towards the next one as Obling. And Obling's having trouble with that because he can't stay behind Nerf for long because Nerf's often being waylaid by the challenges from Malzahar.
Obling tried to get in the backline there and take out the rest of the supports, but I mean, Horfig, the Brigitte is so strong, 1.22, just corral him into a short alleyway, and then with the flail, there's no way he can miss either, and went down fairly early. Bruce is staying up, but this 92% charge is just insane.
The biggest combination available. Down went the hammer from Nerf to Nolfig. Just hit himself for 1 point. The Kobe from afar, blowing away 1.'s defense with the combination of the tank ultimates. Who needs a Graviton Surge when you can just lay him down and have him hold still and be evaporated by the
drop down. It's just Molfig. Nerf just wants to drop him down the back, give him a quick massage, and Molfig came in from the sky and just ruined his day. Didn't go too well, but Malzahar, he's holding onto the Earth Shadow now. They want to hold him at this gate. This is a great place to hold him. They want to go forward as soon as possible. It's actually kind of a good thing that they all got. There was no really staggers here because now they can go back in full force and hold the gate. Brewston wants to build that charge up as soon as possible, but he has the Graviton if things start to get hairy. But really wants to save that for a little bit longer until Frost gets the Farah barrage.
Brewston coming in with the Graviton Surge. Everyone's caught within, and Frost from the top bringing down the rain. No one bought their umbrellas, and Frost was all too happy to snow on their parade. Brewston trying his best here to ward off Lind, but there's going to be Frost in the back who's doing all the work. 1 point, despite a few losses, will sit pretty here, and they are going to have to back off, give Team Singularity a little bit of room to move, because of course 1 point do spawn quite far away, and Team Singularity are going to be pretty demoralized by that one, but they do have Obling coming in with Graviton Surge.
Yeah, they're under push around here. They really want to hold them on this corner at 1 point. But Scalar, Horfig, and Fat all have ultimates ready. So 1 point doing a great job to cycle ultimates, whereas Team Singularity's still kind of scattered. We will have a quick pause here, so we can just take a quick little couple of minutes to break down this upcoming fight. So we do see 1 point on the side. No technical difficulty. That's unfortunate.
Another technical difficulty that we probably should address. Blank, I need you to refresh your stream, buddy. Actually, we probably all should, because I am significantly ahead now. But welcome back.
Strange.
I'm Leg Day. This is Blank, and you're watching Contenders Trials Week 2, Day 1. 1 point versus Team Singularity. 1 point currently sitting at 1 point in the lead. 1-0 after they claimed Ilios. And now they have to defend King's Row from the encroaching advances of a Singularity army. And to give you some background on these teams, should you not know, 1 point is a half Portuguese team featuring a couple members from the Team Portugal World Cup team, alongside a couple of specially selected players from other regions in the EU, including Scalar from Denmark. And Team Singularity is an all-Danish team, so going up against his countrymen. 1 point have come up through Open Division. They were within the top 4 teams there, so they earned their place in the Contenders Trials, whereas Team Singularity, they were relegated from Group A of Contenders Europe last season, where they came in 5th place, just ahead of that of Disband. And looks like we are actually getting back into the game. Do you see that, Black?
It's a perfect transition.
Absolutely perfect. Who else is looking for perfection? It's going to be Malzahar, quickly building up there. He got himself a nice charge. He laid it down on top of Lynn, but he doesn't have a charge to follow it up. There is Brewson's protecting everyone in the Graviton Surge with his own bubble mesh to keep himself and his Brigitte safe, and now Frost looking to lay down the barrage. He's going down on top of some tanks though. He managed to get rid of Molfig's mech, but he's taken out by the Baby Diva. Not quite the trade he wanted. Brewston's coming in though. He's built himself up a Graviton Surge, but he's going to be meleeed and taken down before he can lay it on the ground. And 1 point scattered to the 4 winds in the face of Team Singularity.
1 point just fell too quickly there. Scalar going down early. and then Brucean trying his best to hold this one out. I'm not sure if they can get there in time. If they speed their way on through, maybe they can hold this one. But Team Singularity, they're pushing quite hard at the forefront. But 1 minute 17 on Streets phase is definitely not a bad time, and 1.0 I got to be happy with that. Now they can go back and with a huge Graviton Surge here, and hopefully pick some damage up. And it will be Malzassa swinging into that as well, so he should get the Earth Shadow pretty early.
Well, speaking of things to swing, thus far Nerf has been swinging rather well. Down goes the Graviton Surge. A couple of members caught within that, but Frost has to reload. He can't lay down the rockets in time. Nerf can lay down the hammer at his discretion. It looks like he may well decide to just take the elf here. Mozas has lost his shield though. Nerf's in a position. He lays down the hammer, but he can't hit anyone. Someone's on top of the payload and the other just held the shield firm. Down goes the Graviton Surge from Opling, and everyone's just piling in. 1.0, however, they're getting a few kills back. It's some trading out here in King's Row, and it's about equal ways to get back here for both teams. A charge coming in from Mozas, and we'll get himself a little bit more ult charge, but in the end, Team Singularity are going to win this out, and you have to after the investment that was found.
Yeah, it was very well played from 1.0 there. They forced so much out from Team Singularity, and 1 minute 45, that's great for them. They can come back into this one with a great ult bank with Frost with Barrage, Halfake with that rally as well to get everyone with that 150 armor on top of. So Bruce and Malzassa looking happy with 72% on both their ultimates. So this cycling extremely well, but the payload has moved pretty far now, leg day, so it's making it even harder for 1.0 on their return.
1.0 do have the barrage ready. The question is, where are they going to put it? A concussive blast vest gathers Team Singularity to the 4 wins, but they clearly regroup behind the shield of Nerf. Mozassa almost with that all-important Graviton Surge, but first it's going to be coming out of Obling. Down goes the defensive barrage from Frost, but all he's going to do is bring himself into the flail of foul. Forward go Team Singularity. Down goes the hammer from Nerf, and down go 1.0 in turn. He's swinging for the fences. He's got 3 kills for himself here. Foul's going to finish all up with a shield bash, crushing Scalar into tiny little bits, and the emergency Sombra is going to come in to contest. Can Mozassa get there in time? He will do so, but he's just swinging into nothing. Desperately trying to maintain his life, but he can't maintain the game. 1.0 unable to defend here on King's Row.
Great job so far. 30 seconds on the clock, but they still managed to push it in. It's going to make it even more difficult for the guys on the team at 1.0 to get all the way to the end. They have to make it 3-3 with some time remaining to hit this first point. We're going to go back into technical difficulties once again. I believe the guys over in Ukraine are a lovely observing team. I'm just trying to sort some things out at the moment. But we can quickly talk a little bit more. So the reason Team Singularity went to push through was partly off Nerf's huge Earth Shadow has been pushing through all the time, and the backup from his team on Team Singularity to actually take out Malzassa's shield so often that Nerf always has the opportunity to lay down the hammer and lay them down on the backs. And Frost is almost always forced to use that barrage defensively. And they really don't want to do that. They want to get pure value out of it. And the moment Frost is doing nothing.
Yeah, the tempo is currently being set by Team Singularity, and you can tell that on the side of 1.0, they want to be able to combine that barrage and that Graviton. So just one of the most high damage combos in the game. A fully loaded out barrage can do 4,000 damage. 100 rockets with 40 damage each. That's some quick maths for you. And that's enough to get through a Transcender sometimes as well. So you often don't have to worry about that. But Nose and yards are coming out of Team Singularity, but by always being able to make that barrage be used defensively against the Nerf Shadow or against a Graviton coming out from the side of Team Singularity, they can very much control 1.0 and how they use their ultimates.
Yeah, and this whole control is something that's not talked about a lot in Overwatch, and it's such a huge part of it because 1.0 they have a set strategy. These guys are highly trained players. They're playing at the highest quality of Overwatch at the moment in Contenders, just trying to get into it. They've got a lot on the line here, and Team Singularity just preventing any of those strategies coming through by forcing them to play around their play style. It'll be 1.0 switching things up now because they'll need to if they want to take this one back.
That they do. Blank. 30 seconds left on the clock for Team Singularity. So that means if 1.0 can complete at all, if they do it another time, they will get a bonus minute, and Team Singularity will be taken up to a minute as well, or potentially more, depending on how much time 1.0 need. So if 1.0 can complete, we're guaranteed a second round. But first, they need to do the completion blank, and you can see exactly why Team Singularity decided to pick King's Row. It's so good on the offense for their favored 3-3 competition, which we saw so much from them in the Overwatch pit.
So this is what we were talking about beforehand. I believe at one point I'm probably going to play dive here with the free DPS. They move Malzassa over onto the Winston as play as a solo monkey, and they play around that. And into the Orisa and D.Va, it's going to be tough. It's almost important to get this dive on. But they will move over onto with Frost on the Zarya, Scalar on Moira, and Horfik on the Anti.
Welcome to the game, Horfik. Obling's got a housewarming present for you. I wouldn't keep it for long, unfortunately.
No, you want to get that one removed as soon as possible. Going to do some brain damage, that's for sure. At one point, just sitting pretty at the back now. Reinhardt pumped into the air. Obling's going to get some damage on the shield, but he's pretty happy to save that one. Going to regroup again. They will be playing this 4 quad tank pick, and straight onto the point they go, and they've got to contest them at some point.
Already, Bruce, and having lost his Mecha, Mozasa suffering a headshot from Obling's going to leave him in a less than ideal position. Oh, Horfik trying to come out with the hook, and he is going to get it, but not before suffering a headshot. Will be able to heal himself up, and Frost is now going to chase out Foul. Nerf's going to fall by the wayside as well. 1 point, despite some early losses and early damage sustained, will just be steamrolling their way through the first point of King's Row, with only a minute having elapsed on the clock.
So this comp into Orisa on the top side works so well because they just jump onto the point, and it's really well played by the healers. Got to commend them for that. They kept Bruton his mech for a very long time, and all the attention was on him for so long. Once they dropped, they were all so low, and Horfik on the top side getting that hook onto Obling. Oh god, that was insane.
Priority target removed there, Foul blown away, or a Foul blowing away Fam. That meant that Mozasa had no speed boost to remove him from the dangerous area, and Team Singularity just bounced down on top of him and crushed him underfoot. And now look at this, Team Singularity have a commanding position in the courtyard once more. We're basically defending first point again, like.
Oh, and we've got to do this from Team Singularity because they need to buy themselves as much time as possible here. They do not want this team to push on through. Down comes the Valkyrie, gets some a bit tempo in this fight for Singularity, but Fam finds now.
And there is the Gravitons Surge coming out of Frost. A lot of people caught their in, but Mono's the only one to fall, courtesy of Scalar. In comes the self-destructor Morphig. He's going to get 3. Frost, Scalar, Fat, you're out of there. And Horfik, he's just the porky cherry on the cake.
And I was speaking to Nerf, and he said that Morphig was the man to watch here. He's been playing out of his mind so far, and there it is. And these huge D.Va bombs, every time we see him come out from Morphig, they are calculated. You never see a random one come out just to hold on to a little bit longer. They're either defensive to hold them on the point for slightly longer to get that remake in there, or they use like this and knowing exactly when they can go in, knows that Malzassa's shield is down and pushes in that way. Horfik switches up the Brigitte now to try and counter this comp on the side of Singularity. They will have that extra 150 armor on all of them. Frost might not be able to take advantage of it as much.
Frost is on the back with the Pharaoh, but it was Obling who really commanded respect here. Lin's going to fall. It's going to take him a long time to get back unless Mono can get that res, which he will. And Obling just got a really good grab there. So Team Singularity, they just swung into that. Nerf has yet another Earth Shadow for his troubles. On 1 point, they're back to the drawing board. They don't really have any ultimates coming up in short order. Mozassa's going to get his first, I imagine, by just swinging into the enemy team, but it's going to take time.
Yeah, Singularity are on their bike and they're cycling these ultimates away right now. Val has the Riptide again to take out one of the precious targets on the side of 1 point, and here it comes, trying to look for a player on this team, but immediately 1 point are backing off.
Horfik managed to hit the tire with the whip shot, but it did still claim the lives of both himself and Bruce. And maybe he could have saved himself with a shield there, but it was better to have loved and lost than to have never tried, I suppose. He got the hit, so at least he can say he was accurate. Unfortunately, no one else did, and 70 damage wasn't enough to take out the 100 HP tire. 1 point, straight back up to it though. 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, so Mono also has this Valkyrie again, and Morphic on that Diva ultimate has the bomb once again also, so they'll be looking to take down Malzasa's shield as soon as possible, and with this spam coming out of Foul, it should not be a hard task. Mono, not dropped the Valkyrie as of yet, just waiting out at the moment, but Scalar has a Transcendence, so hopefully One.PoinT can extend this fight a little bit longer outwards. Nerf looking for that Earth Shadow also, and Malzasa's shield, you can already see it's below 1000 HP.
And that means that Nerf is going to be ready to lay down the Shatter at a moment's notice. As you said, Bruce is already trying to gain himself some energy so he can build up towards that Graviton. It's only 60% of the way there right now. And there goes Mozasa shadowing straight into the shield. Nerf held his nerve. Nerves of steel were met by the Titans, and now Obling's just surging forward. He's got himself a Graviton surge, but he's not going to need it, because guess what? Molfig once again being the full stop on this sentence, removing everyone, evaporating them for self-destruct.
Self-destruct coming through every time. It's so perfect here, and Team Singularity are doing what One.PoinT failed to do on this first push is whilst they were on the gate, they've held it so perfectly, and what they didn't have was a Junkrat, and Junkrat able to spam into this team so hard is making it very difficult for One.PoinT. I'm not sure they know how they want to play around it. Has the Riptile once again, and Obling's just going to drop down this Graviton Surge and have the huge combo on top of it.
Malzasa gets himself a charge, Nerf put into the wall, but there's enough healing there to sustain him. And now Horfig and Fat are down. One.PoinT are losing men very fast, even if they are gaining distance, they're not going to be able to get much further forward. Obling still has the emergency Graviton Surge, shouldn't be required. No, he's just going to carve his name into the armor of Bruceson, and he's charging down Mozasa, who's not going to have his shield for long, but the more damage I can get onto that, the longer it'll take for One.PoinT to get back into this, and they're already low on time. 45 seconds stand between them and Team Singularity, evening up the series.
Finally, One.PoinT have cashed some checks and their bank is looking a little bit more healthy now. Bruceson has the Graviton, Malzasa has the Earth Shadow, but we've seen it before. Nerf has blocked that Earth Shadow coming out from Malzasa twice, so it'll be up to Horfig to make that perfect play with the shield bash, dropping his shield and moving inwards with the Earth Shadow afterwards.
Malmo laid down on the floor by the Earth Shadow. He did get the Zaya shield, but they managed to burst through it after the shield was stuck. Great coordination there from One.PoinT, that they're going to have to try and brawl this one out. Obling's still in here. He managed to use his Graviton Surge and is still built up to another one pretty quickly, 58%. One.PoinT now. Perfection is demanded. Overtime is in session, and they still have half of King's Row second to get through. Team Singularity can take their time. They only need to win one fight in second point in order to try and claim this. Mozasa can't afford to let his shield be spammed down by Foul here, or Nerf will lay down One.PoinT's hopes on the ground.
Yeah, so this is the problem now. Malzasa has to keep his shield relatively down for the time being, and the rest of the team need to keep up. Horfig goes down though, 10 HP on that Riptide, and he managed to get it through. Down goes the Diva Bomb.
And nothing's going to be claimed. Frost's going to get nerfed, and down goes the shield as well. So that means that it's clear sailing if you want to lay down a Nerf Shadow. Mozasa's going to do exactly that. Frost gets Lind as well, and now it's all going the way of One.PoinT. Team Singularity, they're flailing, and they're trying to get something going, but no, One.PoinT is just going to surge on forward, and Mono desperately coming with the Mercy Blast of a Valkyrie suit. Not quite enough here, and doesn't like One.PoinT. I'm going to get a bonus minute and 30 on the clock as they claim second point here.
This will be amazing if they can push it all the way through. That Caduceus Blaster on the Mercy doesn't do too much. It's more like a flintlock pistol, really. It's coming straight out from the olden days. Scalar, again, has the Transcendence, and we've shown before that One.PoinT really thrive when they can get these extended fights out. Nerf holds onto the Earth Shadow as well as a Mono. Has a little bit more tempo with that Valkyrie. Pops it now. They want to go in, and they want to go in hard.
Obling having to move forward now. Nerf's coming in, getting the charge, but he is going to be caught midway through. Bruceson killing himself there, probably using the right click onto a rather beefy enemy. However, One.PoinT, this was quite an expedient loss for them. They didn't invest anything to try and save themselves either. Team Singularity did invest both with Valkyrie and with Graviton Surge. So now One.PoinT have their best chance to move forward, even if they are going into 3 ultimates from Team Singularity once Molfig can get out this self-destruct.
And we talk about investments a lot here, leg day. Nerf has been holding on to this Earth Shadow for so long, and here comes the dividends.
And here they come. Mozasa trying his best to swing for it, but it's straight into the shield of Nerf. The Earth Shadow not getting anything. Frost moving forward with the Junkrat, but Mozasa's fallen before him. Horfig as well, and they're running out of men. very, very quickly. 15 seconds on the clock. They're running out of everything here on the side of 1Point. Here comes the self-destruct just to get Morphic back his mech, but Scalar still can't get away. He's floating too slowly. The speed limit has been enforced by the Cop Diva. 1 second remaining. No one can touch the payload. Team Singularity, they're bringing it back, evening up the series 1-1.
Where are we, like? They are on the country roads of England, 5 miles per hour speed limit. This is not good for Team 1Point, but they still put up a massive attempt there. Getting through that street space was tough for them. And then 1 minute 30 to make the last push was so hard. We are going to throw this one back to the desk now, though, to quickly run this one down.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Just kidding. Man, that EU internet, man, I feel bad for you. Let's talk about this match here, Panda, because the first half has been interesting. If we had some more time for the beginning of the match here, we would have talked about how 1Point seems to really struggle against teams that really rely heavily on their tanks, kind of like Singularity Esports does.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
So what exactly, we start out, 1Point takes Ilios. We see Sombra going up against Singularity's Farah, Mercy, and it works, right? So, I mean, is that a risky play here? I mean, I've tried that before. It doesn't work for me. Is that kind of a risky one?
I think it all depends on the macro play coming out on the team with Sombra, and that was 1Point with Horthic on Sombra. If you can get a key hack on to Farah in the sky, just comes crashing down. And the one thing to keep in mind on Falls, Farah on that map in particular, I believe it was Well at the time, was very. It wasn't impactful, right? It took very long to gain that first barrage, and that's exactly what 1Point wanted. So they were like, okay, this Farah isn't really doing too much damage, so we're just gonna go ahead and bully the rest of your team away while you're not doing too much damage. We're gonna play the sight lines correctly and just keep pressuring and pressuring and pressuring. That Fall was just left in the sky, last alive, and at that point, Farah 1v6 doesn't really work out. But once 1Point made a stature on that Well point, they were able to take it with ease.
So after 1Point takes Ilios, we go to Kings Row, and 1Point tries something that I think we saw a little bit in Open Division. Now we are playing on a different patch, and that's 1.22, where we don't have the Hanzo changes. Scatter Arrow is still in, none of that horizontal lunging, and you've also got the Brigitte pre-nerf, right? So you're still dealing with the stronger shields here. And you see 1Point running 2 tank, 3 support, 1 DPS tracer on defense, and it was really effective on that point A defense. But then as they continue to try to use it, you kind of try to fall apart, and they felt like they were kind of just beating their heads against the wall a little bit. What make that composition so good for maybe a point A defense that maybe wasn't so good for like a point B, point C, or a point B offense?
It was just the massive amount of tanks just slamming their way, the sheer beef going into the high charge of Brucin to charge those Graviton Sturges just made it easy for the Tracer just to get back there and pick apart.
Panda, I'm so sorry. I got to cut you off because we've got the game going in. We're going to Hanamura. We're going real quick. We've got the feed coming in. Leg day, blank. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to the beautiful sunny Japan. We are in Hanamura, where the cherry blossoms flow. 1Point and Team Singularity are in perfect harmony. 1-1.
Yeah, so this is where 1Point really comes into effect right there. This is what they do. They give up 1 point, they take 1 point, and then they take the match. But so far, Singularity has been putting up a great fight as the underdog in this match. Exactly. But Horthic, moving on to the junk right now, seeing Team Singularity use it so well, has probably changed his mind a little bit about it. And Frost moves over to Widow as well as Malzessa and Brucin are in that dive comp. So it's probably going to be going for more of this like free comp. So with 3 different potential mobile users over here. So you'll have Horthic moving around as well as Brucin and Malzessa working as a team. And Frost backing up from the backgrounds and Fat dropping on that huge damage buff.
Yeah, on the side of Team Singularity, the only mobile we'll be able to see is Blank's mobile internet. Morphic, however, it's going to be on the Diva, so He's going to be a little bit more mobile. He can use those rocket boosters should he require to get up onto some unsuspecting targets like Scaler or Horfig, but it's Lind who's going to be the first unsuspecting target taken out by Mozasa rather early, and 1 point per second, it seems to already come crashing through the doors, come down, and they are the Thunderclap.
So pushing him back immediately, get off the stairs, this is not where you belong. Immediately Horfig jumps down, great situational awareness from this guy, and already 89% towards that Riptire as well. Knows exactly how to play this jump at the moment. It's absolutely amazing. Mono is forced back, but they can't remove themselves from the stairs because Horfig has all avenues blocked.
Horfig's using those concussion mines to great effect when it comes to mobility. Oh, that's a well-placed concussive grenade as well into the midst of Team Singularity. It looks like it only hit one, but could have been a lot more dangerous. Does have a Riptire ready to go, and once again, Lind may well be the primary target here. He is the main healer, and he is really what enables these tight-knit compositions to last for so long. The Coalescence is out, so that means he can't fade to avoid this as it comes in, but instead he's going to go for Foul, who's quite out on his own, and now Frost is free to lay down the sniper fire from the back. No one can get on him, and Mulfi, he's had enough. He's just going to take a dive off the edge, and I'll give that one a 10.
Perfect coordination from this team. There's only one way you can go in Hanamura for the first point. You've got to gun in it, and see, Horfig knew that and just dropped the Riptire down. There's only one avenue you could take onto there, but taking out Foul was the smart choice. Instead of going for this free man kind of Riptire that usually you do see out of all these huge plays that come out, took down Foul, which means no shield bash, and it's immediately afterwards Malzahn can go in, pop the Primal Rage, and start doing work.
Work was certainly done here for 1 point. Half the time of Team Singularity has been used, but they do have one person on the point trying to accrue some percentage. Is quickly challenged out, and Mulfig now moving in after Mozasa post-leap. Down comes the sound barrier from Mono, and it's going to be answered by Scaler, coming in desperately with the Transcendence. And looks like the Self-Destruct didn't get anything either. 1 point are investing so much here. Horfig forced to change over to the emergency Tracer to get back more quickly than the Junkrat would have done, and now Frost is under pressure as well. Lind's going to win that one out. Revenge from Mondata has been secured. Scaler's in the corner. The Mech will win out in the battle of the bots. Bruceson blown away by Foul.
Foul finding so many picks here, and they're on the point, ticking on up now, and no one's there to defend it. One person just got on the point now, and it will be Malzahn. Horfig going huge now, though.
They are. Fat is down, and Horfig's trying his best to bring it back. The emergency swap onto the Tracer working out, but he has to use the recon instead of picking up that particular health pack, and Team Singularity will eventually claim point A here, and we'll be able to move on to a fleet point B, but they had to invest so much in that attack flank. They don't really have anything to try and snowball this with. That's going to make an emergency swap over onto Ana.
Yeah, so Malzahn, he will also have the Primal Rage to stall this one out if needs be. That on Ana is actually a great pick here because he can stay relatively towards the back, and that Ana boost is so imperative for this point.
And it is. Mulfig loses his mech early and is going to have to reset off the edge. Despite the efforts of Obling to take out Frost, he will eventually be picked up by Horfig. Revenge being gained, one French lady trade for another.
Indeed, unfortunate. Frost now, though, with the infrasight, can see all. It's not the B end all, though, either, though. Nerft has the Primal Rage as well, so they probably want to corral 1 point into the smaller room on the top right side here. But Malzahn, he's equally as angry when it comes to it, and Infrasight is going to stop them from going anywhere without Frost knowing.
Frost doesn't give a damn. 2 supports, 2 shots, and no hope left for Team Singularity on this push.
I told you guys that Frost can see where they're going, but I didn't tell you that he can hit the shots as well, so I think that's he certainly can. Jumps down, doesn't want Foul going anywhere, and Horfig picks up the kill onto Nerfed as well. As these staggers are really huge because you see a lot of the players, even though on the left side of the map where you could easily jump off, they're not able to do it. Oh my god!
That is filthy.
Down! That's a huge stagger as well. But Team Singularity, they've got a rather packed ultimate bank now. It will be Obling with the Infrasight. Lind also has Transcendence, so they have weighed this one out. They know they're on the losing foot, so they instead banked on getting some ultimates up here. Now they have Mulfig with the Diva Bomb. We'll see if he can employ it in such a good way as he did on King's Row.
That was the kind of shot to make a boy uninstall. Obling, he's going to be popping the Infrasight, so he knows exactly where Frost is. Nerf's going to be the first victim of the incoming sniper shots, but it's not a headshot, so we'll be able to get back and have a little bit of healing to bring him back up to full health. But Mozasa's not going to let him rest. The Tesla cannon coming in, racking his nerves, and Obling once again outclassed by Frost in this instance. But Matt, I don't even know what goes through your mind at this point as Obling. Do you swap off? Do you uninstall? Do you go play Realm Royale?
I think you go play Realm Royale, dude. It's over. I mean, the aiming's a little bit easier on there as well, as right? Frost takes down Fall as well as with a quick SMG shot. I think he's the player he's been looking out for so far. And hitting a Tracer as a Widowmaker is not an easy feat. But the fact that Frost is going for this so consistently shows he's a very confident Widow. And in these terms, for morale play, when you're playing extremely well as a Widow, you tend to just snowball out of control, because once you're hitting those shots, you're hitting those shots.
Yeah, it's a very snowbally hero. You just got to be feeling it. And Fat's going to be the first one feeling the Simian fury of Nerf as he goes in with the Primal Rage. That's a lot less healing available for 1Point, and this could be what Team Singularity were looking for. Because that's going to try and bring it back in. Now Team Singularity have lost both their supports, and by the blink of an eye, Orphic and Mozas are going to figure that one out. At 1Point only have 3 members remaining now. But it looks like Team Singularity just don't have the healing to sustain this. They've got the damage, but they don't have the sustain. Fat's doing his best to try and duel out against Fall here, but he can just dip back into spawn and get all the healing that he wants.
And the longer he stays there like that. Not a single tick. 1Point, they don't give up 1Point. I know I've been making many jokes about 1Point. You'll have to forgive me, chat, for the time being. Fall now has the Pulse Bomb as well as Molfig with the Diva Bomb. So you got the double. You got double. You got Self-Destruct, you've got Pulse Bomb as well as. So it can be a very explosive push coming out from Team Singularity coming on. Obling switches over to the Genji now, directly countering Frost. He wants to get in on there as soon as possible. If he can get the deflect off, it'll be amazing. But what he's really looking for is the cleave and the blade.
Well, the cleave came down, but the sword was elsewhere. It was wielded by Frost and it was thrust into the back of Team Singularity. Despite the ultimates that they had coming in, 1Point, hold firm. 1 minute now remains for Team Singularity to try and claim Hanamura, and they don't even have a tick thus far.
1Point just the team synergy is extremely strong at the moment, and although we see Frost in the kill feed a lot, what's really allowing that is the pressure and the space being created by the rest of the team. Malzasa in particular is always in the front lines. He's been rather frightening so far, and every time the side of Team Singularity are watching, Malzasa, he's guarding the gate.
Hello. He is guarding the gate. Who else guards gates blank? I can't even remember. I can't even think of a reference right here.
Who's that guy from 4? I don't know his name.
Oh, Heimdall?
Heimdall, yeah, Malzasa Heimdall.
That he is, but currently 1Point standing strong, just like our favorite Norse gatekeeper, and already Molfig is taking a headshot as Frost comes in. He's got his eyes on the Tracer, who's desperately trying to find an ingress here, but Nerf's already fallen. He may have to be rezzed up by Mono here, and Molfig's trying his best to make sure that Team Singularity have no such chances. That's on the edge, laying down the bionic rifle bullets, and Molfig isn't going to get the chance to demech. He had high hopes with that self-destruct, but his hopes were dashed by a sniper bullet to the skull. The Widow's Kiss replacing the memory of his mother's face. At 1Point, they could just invest willy-nilly here as they carve down Team Singularity, who haven't claimed any percentage, and they're just going to have to settle at 1Point.
Bullet by bullet, Frost will dismantle Team Singularity's offense here. They could not get through at all. I am not sure what you do as Team Singularity in this place. They made all the right composition switches, but it just was not enough. 1Point at the moment are just outplaying them very, very hard, always on the front foot. Every time they tried to make a reposition onto the left side, Malzasa was there waiting. Every time they went to go right side, Frost there was waiting with the Widow's Kiss, ready to engage and pull the trigger.
Frost is he's a breakout star for me right now. The man is dismantling the Danes.
Yeah, I mean, the guys from 1Point, although they have a lot of players from the Polish World Cup, these players are extremely good. I was talking to their coach earlier on, and they just said Frost is just a good player, just a great addition to the team. He will be hovering on the Doomfist now, as well as maybe this might be some good homework from them, knowing that Nerf will pick the Reinhardt here, and using Frost on the Doomfist will be able to displace him very well.
Yeah, if you can remove that shield from the mix, you can definitely get a lot more damage onto these beefy targets without Nerf being able to try and keep them safe for a while. And when you can get that much damage onto these beefy targets, well, you won't really miss because they're just such large hitboxes and these are professional players. That means you can build up ults incredibly quickly. I'd love to see Frost and Bruisen come out with this combination of Doomfist and Sombra in order to try and just make sure Nerf is having the worst time.
Yeah, exactly. And oftentimes it is Reinhardt who is the linchpin in these cases. And if you can get rid of him, take him out of the mix, you have free reign over the front line. But they will go for a very, very risky start here. And this is not always the best idea, because if you win this fight, at best, you win 30 seconds, right? If you lose it, you lose the point.
If you lose it, you lose your ability to win this game, potentially. Because
yeah, exactly.
They may well be playing for the draw of the first hold, and thus far it's going okay. A little bit of damage sustained by 1Point here, and Merzass is going to find himself in a sticky situation. Luckily, Morphic's going to be saving him from that, and it's going to be a draw back onto a point here from Frost, who was dilly-dallying around, accruing some percentage, and Team Singularity couldn't afford to let that happen.
So now they have backed up. It'll be side of Morphic on the right side over here, just protecting the gate on the right, making sure that the Junkrat can't come in. But Bruceton finds himself in a great position behind the targets.
That he does, and caught in a trap as Morphic is going to quickly try and build himself up towards that mech, but Horthig's got to deliver it for you, which is going to end your hopes and dreams there. Nerfed, under pressure, but Paul's going to try and relieve it by taking out Frost. A slam to the back of the head by the shield is going to leave Tracer concussed and reeling straight back to spawn. Unfortunately, the remainder of Team Singularity are also going to be joining him there, and it's just a Lucia that stands between them and the guarantee of a draw here on Danamura.
Morphic went up and over, and Brucian did the exact same. So the classic switcheroo there as the Junkrat gets on the top side. And once he's there, and immediately got a trap onto Morphic, as well as there was no way you could contest him, because you have these low ground targets like Reinhardt and Zarya. Unless Zarya gets a buff to using that mortar cannon to throw yourself upwards even higher, she's not going to be able to contest the Junkrat's on the high ground. And that's just so much spam damage that it's just almost impossible to deal with unless you have that Diva Matrix, which they just did not in that situation.
Obling over to the Widowmaker, and as is tradition, Frost will join him in the duel. Now, Mozasa and Bruceson, they know that they can try and pressure the point should they require, but instead they're going to be going on to Mono straight away, and he's already down. Horfig's going to try and pile on with a barrage, but Obling's going to be taking him out of the sky. Frost now commands the entire arena. He's playing Duck Hunt right here. He's got so many people in his sights, and Morphic's going to be the first to fall. They're so close to occurring. That first sick just foul stands between them and progress. Obling's come out on the desperation Genji, but he's piled upon by 5 members of 1Point. The Portuguese tide is coming in. The Man of War has arrived, and Team Singularity going down 2-1 for 1Point.
1 point, oh my god. Malzasa the Hound in front takes down these targets as Frost lines them up for him. This is an incredible play from these teams. They played extremely well here. It's very tough to go against that. Frost was just playing on this Widow out of his mind. He was finding the targets left, right, and center. And I don't know how many holes he must have put in Team Singularity's head, but I'm not sure there's head there anymore.
There's just a mangled stump where it used to be.
Leg day.
Not an ideal image. But next we are going to be moving over to Escort Blank. And that's between Junkertown or Route 66. And once again, it is going to be the choice of Singularity as to where we go. And Junkertown, I'd say, is reasonably good for tanks, but Route 66 is also pretty good. So I have no idea where they're going to be going, if I'm honest.
They'll probably be going over to Route 66. I would hope. I know. I think this is 1Point's pick, right? Or is it the Danes pick? It might be Singularity. They are a heavy tank team, so you would assume they'd pick Route 66, right, where they can play that free comp to advantage. But we'll see how it plays out.
Oh, have to see, but like I said before, Frost is just a breakout star there, and really one of the best things about 1Point thus far is their coordination when it comes to dealing with main tanks and targets. And they really have adapted to do that because Mozasa was losing out in the tank duels. Not because he was a worse tank, but because Singularity were putting all their eggs into the destroy Mozasa's shield, so nothing can get out of Shadow Basket. And that was really working out nicely for them.
Oh yeah, that basket was very well made. A lovely basket came from the ancestors. But the thing is with that is the target prioritization from the side of Team Singularity is extremely strong. And whenever we're viewing Morphic here and you're seeing him play, you can actually see the decision making going ahead as he plays. We saw when the Transcendence came out, he immediately switched his micro missile targeting from Bruceson, who was getting healed from the Transcendence from Scalar, to immediately over to Malzasa, who was outside of the Transcendence defense's range. It's tough to contend with a player like that who knows exactly what to do in exact situations. At the moment, though, Singularity, they're just not living up to the DPS hype that OnePoint is bringing out at the moment. It's so tough to deal with when you lose both your supports so early and the staggers come through. It's going to be terrible for morale as well as.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of that last push attack by OnePoint there was how well they targeted Mono. They got him so low with a Bruce and the Mosasa dive. He got to about 60 health and then fell off the edge so that they'd have to drop off after him and then couldn't fly back up afterwards when he used Guardian Angel. But instead, Horthic just instantly committed for Barrage onto a 60 health Mercy and evaporated her after just 2 rockets of 100. Even though we got sniped down by Obling, he was in a dangerous position, but he knew that if they got rid of that Mercy, they had a great chance to. They didn't have to win out the point entirely, but just to get that first tick, and it worked out fantastically for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this whole positioning from the side of OnePoint is extremely strong. I tired them for it on Ilias, and I'll tire it for them again because the way they play is as a unit, whereas we see Team Singularity, they play often scattered, and Molfig and a few of the supports, they play together. But it just seems like the tank line's a bit mixed up, whereas on King's Row, it was much better formatted on the defense, and they didn't let up at all for OnePoint, and I think they need to start bringing that back in again. Team Singularity, we've seen it. We saw it on King's Row. They just need to start playing to their advantages. And at the moment, OnePoint, they're outplaying with the compositions, and they're outplaying them just in general.
But that said, it's very hard to try and create your own tempo when you only have 33% worth of leeway on an assault point. You can't go that far forward because the risk of a back cap is that much greater because they only need to cap 33% and you can get that in, 5 or 6 seconds with a errant tracer if you're surging forward. So it's a huge risk to run. And it seems that when they can't control their tempo, that's when Team Singularity really start to fall apart.
Yeah, they definitely crumbled. Under that pressure, they crumbled. It was very difficult for them to control. And like you said, the pressure was on. If they left the point for a single second, Mosasa leaps onto it and the help of Horthic, and they take that point almost immediately. So there's so many things to think about in their mind. It becomes a very easy push at OnePoint. Now, this could be OnePoint taking it on Route 66, and their coach, again, I was talking to them, and they said they love Route 66. It's one of their more favored maps.
Ladies and gentlemen, come and get your kicks. It's Route 66. Team Singularity will be starting off on the offense, and OnePoint looking to be the block which stands in their way. They have to halt the progress of this payload, but they didn't do so well on King's Row. It seems like when a payload's involved, that's mostly when these tank-heavy compositions are at their best.
Yeah, exactly. And at the moment, we'll have to see how either tank composition fades up against each other. We know that at OnePoint they played against Bazooka Puppies. They ran up 3-3 into them, and they weren't able to hold up their own, which is why, again, like I was saying, they have this pocket DPS pick that they take out, which is free DPS. They kind of counteract that. But it looks like they've done the homework and they want to try it again with Horthic on the Brigitte.
Absolutely. That is where Horthic can make a huge difference here by trying to just mess with Nerf to make sure that Mosasa can win out that main tank duel in short order. And Team Singularity, they've seen what they're up against, and it looks like Obling's going to be dodging on back, is instantly going to be moving over to the Widowmaker. Once again, going to be taking this duel against Frost, and guess what? Frost has got a perma shield in terms of Mosasa. Obling does not. And this was not a duel that was in his favor already.
No, so Frost is going to be in a great position to take out Obling at any moment of the game, so the pressure is on for Obling. He can't peek out carelessly because Frost could be there. Quickly whip shots, nerfed off the edge. Luckily he had the leap in action to stop him falling to his doom there. That would have been unfortunate for Monkey not being able to climb, but Obling finds Frost here, and there's no res as of yet.
Trying to bring back his dignity in that duel. He's starting off well. Mosasa already having lost his shield. Now they can surge forward. Nothing to stop the incoming damage. But Nerf being taken down is a pretty good start. Mosasa's going to lay down the hammer, and that's going to take out the Mini Diva. Mono's the second to fall. Horthic picking that one up with a whip shot, and Foul just forced to run for the hills. Frost, he's going to be covering it. It's a little bit slippy, and he definitely falls down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he lost his footing, dropped down, and Horthic picked up the kill there. Frost, sorry, picked up the kill. Horfik now coming up on that rally as well as, and extremely important on this kind of comp as well as 150 armor on the 1.22 pack is going to make it extremely difficult for Team Singularity to burn through there, and they're not going to be an easy meal to chew through.
That they are not. It's going to be very hard for Nerf to lay down any damage, but in comes the Riptire and it will claim Brucein. That's the Graviton Surge doesn't need to be worried about. And now Frost is looking to try and take out Oblink. He's the only hit scan on this team apart from the incoming transgressions of Brucein with that laser, but can't bring it out thus far. He lays down the pulse bomb and Cloud just sits on top of it. However, Team Singularity, they're still going to be surging forward.
Yeah, but with a couple of members down here, it could give the opportunity for 1 point to come back in, and Brucein does have the Graviton. Horfik again has the rally as they come into this fight. And this is the part on Route 66 where you can actually get back onto point with relative ease.
Nerf ready to try and meet 1 point as they come in. He does have a primary to be required. Scalar already coming out with a transcend that's going to keep everyone on the side of 1 point nice and healthy. Lind can't say the same. Crushed underfoot by the Squire of Reinhardt. Brigitte giving him a whip shot to the face, and Fat's going to pick one up as well. 1 point are all about the fragging supports right now, and they're going to try and finish it on out with the Graviton Surge, but it wasn't in the optimal position. Now Zasu couldn't swing into that, and Nerf just laid down the shield and was feeling pretty happy. Team Singularity have lost out this fight, but 1 point it invested a little bit too much in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Like they invested the Graviton, and Malzaza would really want to swing into that to get his Earth Shatter back up so they can cycle it out. They do have the remainders of that rally on top of them though, so they can extend this fight a little bit more. But a huge stick will find too!
And he flew straight into Mono, or Mono flew to him. I don't know which way to describe it. Malzasa's had enough. They've hit his overdrive button, they've completely overclocked for Reinhardt, and he's gone all the way forward. 1 point. They're taking any and none of your shenanigans. Team Singularity are back to spawn. They are building up a considerable ult bank, though, almost 6 ready to go.
God, it will be Malzaza, 4.2 gigahertz there, charging into the team with unlimited speed. And the Riptide now in the hands of Fall. This has to be huge. 1 point lacking on those ultimates. Malzaza coming up on the Earth Shadow, so taking him out will be huge.
Hasn't taken out any of the tanks, so Fat's going to be the one who takes the L for that. Fall already under pressure. What a one clip from Frost, but he took a load of damage from the Total Mayhem. An incoming attempt at a resurrection, but Mono was healed up. He got so low, but the kill wasn't quite there. And now Frost is trying to build up towards that pulse bomb. He can let it loose at any time, but it doesn't look like Team Singularity, no matter what happens, are going to be moving through here. The investment of ultimates is great, and Malzaza being smacked around by Nerf, racking his nerves with a Tesla cannon and the fists. And now it's just Fat, the lone Lucio, that stands between Team Singularity and the point, and they will be claiming blood and a little bit more time in their bank.
Morphin giving Fat a bit of a taste of his own medicine, bopping him off the payload there, far away where the rest of the team can take him out. Now we are on Streets phase, and Route 66 gives you a pretty comfortable time if you go to overtime on the first point, 2 minutes 20. It's enough to push on through, but it's still going to be tough. Frost switches over onto the Widow as well, but Malzaza has the Earth Shadow. So using this could be absolutely critical here, because if we can stop them early, then they can actually take a proactive position and begin stopping these people from coming in. Team Singularity has to try hard here.
No reliable shielding is available. Frost is coming in, trying to get rid of Fall. He will do it. The fadeaway snipe. Fall didn't even know what hit him. Well, I'm pretty sure he knows it was the Widow's Kiss, but he doesn't know how it happened. Mozas is going to crush Lind into spare parts, scrap to repair his armor with after the dust has settled. And now 1 point, they are surging forward so aggressively here, not giving Team Singularity any room to move.
Yeah, and with 1 minute 32, that's exactly what they want to do. If they can prevent this payload from going anywhere, when Brucein gets the Graviton Surge, if they can keep it very, very early on in this Streets phase, they can potentially take all of them out, go to overtime, and it's be a very easy push for them.
Absolutely. Frost has a commanding sightline once again, and almost has the infrasight as well. It's a body shot onto Obling, so he's going to have to duck back and get a little bit of extra healing. The damage boost here from Fat means he does 156 damage per shot, and down goes the Graviton Surge. It's only Molfi caught there in, but he's going to be quickly demeched. The self-destruct could well be the answer, and it's going to be a loss of the shield from Alzaz here from the top. There's the threat of the Riptire. Not going to be claiming any lives, however. Malzaza missing the charge there. Morphing trying his best to survive. He's being delayed upon by both tanks now here. Malzaza, Team Singularity going to be filling the kill feed, and Malzaza is going to be filling the crevice.
despite Lin's early transcendence, which seemed a little bit unnecessary, keeping the Disco Orb up in that fight was actually very, very good for them. Able to do a lot of damage onto these heavy targets on the front line, but now they only have 20 seconds, but no ultimates on the side of OnePoint other than an upcoming Valk, which could provide some tempo. Is going to be tough for these guys on OnePoint to push on through. This could be Streets phase going over Team Singularity.
No, this is going to be letting them come out easily though. Malzasa straight on to the Winston and straight onto the Widow as well. Obling under pressure, but he's got the healing there to sustain himself. But now OnePoint needs to concentrate on the cart. So does Team Singularity. 1 point remaining, or rather 1 second remaining. Overtime is in session. We need to stay on the cart. The file's already fallen low. He does have the healing of the Mercy to try to sustain it, but it recalls into a trap. No, who would have expected that? Travel back in time and find your leg within a bear trap. Not the ideal bear. Not the ideal for Fat either. Blown away by the shrapnel of the Reptile. For Team Singularity, they don't have the bodies on a point right now. They don't have the HP. It's only a drone crack. 200 HP versus the world, and OnePoint will round upon him and remove him from the game. Short of point 2, Team Singularity will be halted.
Poor Fall there. Micro missiles into him, electrocuted and disorientated by Horfig on the Brigitte. I think this goes down to Fat and Horfig on this map so far, though, because Horfig's in such a domineering presence in most of these fights. And Fat's positioning has just been phenomenal all this time. He finds the reses off that he needs to, and his Valking. Oftentimes with Mercies, you'll see when they Valk, they'll go immediately upright and try and get high ground, versus Obling, who he knows can hit those shots. He doesn't want to do that. So he stays relatively low and makes full use of that extra healing coming out of the Valkyrie, which is just making this so easy for OnePoint to hold on to. You saw Malzasa went up topside. Molfig did the exact right thing, immediately changed his target and went straight up for Malzasa, and there was 3 men on him. Fat managed to keep him alive that entire time with the help of the Winston shield.
Yeah, he did, and you're very right about the Valkyries. You have to be a lot more judicious as to where you fly with a Mercy when you're up against a Widowmaker, because that hard-earned ultimate can be burned away in but an instant when faced with the Widow's Kiss.
Yeah, and it's so important as well. As I mean, I talk about the healing here, but the extra 30% damage coming out from the damage boost is a universal one whilst in Valkyrie mode. And that on top of Horfig with the Tracer, Malzasa's getting huge amounts of extra damage as well, as I believe it's an extra 12 on his electrocute, on his Tesla cannon, which 18. May seem 18. It may seem little there, but it does so much damage.
Not only that, but everyone else is as well. Damage Mr. Monkey does 78 damage per second, which will kill you in 3 seconds.
That's true.
Just under.
Just under.
It's
a quick electrocution.
It also means you can do net damage to a Mercy healed target as well. Because usually you're an impasse, because you do 60 DPS against 60 healing.
Yeah, and you don't do anything. It's almost useless to go into it. And that's when most Winstons will change their target, but with the extra damage boost, you can just stay on there and pressure. And that is one huge thing that OnePoint have been doing this entire game, is holding on the gas as we come past this gas station. They've been not letting up on the pressure whatsoever. Now they're on the top ground with nerfed on the Orisa, and they're going to be spamming into this enemy team. Malzasa's shield going down early, and a lovely shot onto Fat will take him out of this fight.
Well, you said they're putting on the pressure, but so is Obling. Fat being removed early means that you can't put the pedal to the metal. The speed boost has been cancelled, but so is the Omnic defensive here. Moving straight through the shield is OnePoint, but it seems like there will be time to resurrect that on the side of Team Singularity. Mono can get that, but did he get? It doesn't look like he got the resurrection, and Nerf's going to take his time getting back here. This could be a crucial step up from Team Singularity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you need to bring the Orisa back into the fold here, because that's the main thing preventing you from taking a lot of damage. She can body block with the Fortify. She has so much ability to keep the shields up, but now is the time to go, as Nerf is not in position yet. Riptide comes out, tries to take out some of the key targets, just holding on for the time being.
It's only into the midst of OnePoint though, when no damage was taken there. Frost fell by the wayside after he expended both his shields to save his team, and then Nerf pushed into the pole, crushed up by Malzasa. You know, Reinhardt, he has a job on the side. He does do scrap, but so does Rotol, coming out with the scrap gun, the whole hog being applied, but File's going to quickly make an evasive maneuver here. That's going to force out the Valkyrie from Mono to try and keep everyone safe. There's the hook throw out of the air, but he can't quite finish it. Not the shot that he wanted. No one else could finish off the damage. Team Singularity, they're holding strong despite the investments from OnePoint.
The payload is moving up currently though, so they really need to actually start putting the pedals to the metal, like you're saying earlier. Like they kind of allow Singularity to keep getting ultimates like this because they're going to keep cycling them. That's 100%. Frost switches over to Zarya now, so they're now running quad tank with Scalar on Moira and Fat on the Lucio. This is going to give you a huge amount of healing, and Scalar with the 300 damage, 300 healing from that Orisa Orb is going to be extremely important. But down comes another Riptire.
Foul cyberbullying kids right now. No healing is available for 1 point. That means that they are just a feast of health waiting for Team Singularity to declare. Oh, Obling, what a satisfying number of things right there. I want that to be my ringtone.
Dink, dink, dink. It is a satisfying noise, but I probably wouldn't pick up my phone. I'd probably just wait for the dinks to run out. Although I do that normally.
I would have answered, but Obling is my ringtone.
Be a great excuse. I use it all the time. Brucean now has the Diva Bomb. Malzassa with the Earth Shatter hit. Now, what they really want to do here is make space for Malzassa to hit the Earth Shatter coming around this corner. But at the moment, Team Singularity all on the high ground is preventing that from happening whatsoever. And it just is Mono able to just float around from these two high ground places. But now Nerf drops down, and this is the opportunity they need.
No one making themselves available to be Earth Shattered, but he's going to manage to pick up the Supercharger anyway, charge on through the shield and destroy that pesky little ultimate that Nerf laid down, and now it looks like 1 have managed to make their way through the troublesome blockade that was placed before them. Farl's going to try his best to get some damage down onto Malzassa here and earn himself a Riptire to try and waylay this push in the last second, but Team Singularity are going to have to spawn back. Lind making the emergency swap now. He's onto the Lucio. He's going to ferry everyone back. Obling over onto the Pharah. Team Singularity may well decide to put all their eggs into this last defense basket, and it's going to be Farah who wants to open it up with a Riptire.
So the roadblock has been taken out of the way. 1 takes the diversion, but immediately Singularity are back onto the point now. Obling in the sky, drops the Pharah down. Those rockets are coming on targets, and out comes the Diva Bomb. Doesn't find anyone as of yet, and here comes the Valkyrie.
Explosives all over the place. Brucean laid low before he could even get his mech back, and he's going to be very low health now. Obling up in the air, going to be relatively untouched, but Frost has laid down the grabs on Surge to touch the remainder of Team Singularity, and their health pool reaches 0 incredibly quickly. Obling wasn't on the ground to contest, and 2 minutes and 30 seconds will be added to 1 time then. It's got to be heartbreaking if your Team Singularity they invested so much. Lynn's going to swap over back to the Zenyatta. Oh, poor Malzassa. Just can't catch a break.
No, he can't. He's always trapped in. B always not quite the ground at all points. But now, like you said, Team Singularity almost invested everything there on one last banking attempt. Now it's going to be so easy 1 to run in. A lot of switch coming out though, so they will actually butcher their own ultimate bank, but in favor of a better composition against this one coming in when Team Singularity. Nerf still has the Earth Shatter in play though, but immediately gets Disc Orb on top of him, and the Fire Strike will take him down, and that's Obling afterwards.
Obling falling courtesy of Scalar, trying to come in with an optimistic barrage, and Fal's going to try and bring this one back. Here comes the Riptide that will only claim Bruce, and there's still a lot of presence on the point here for 1 and all they need right now is to just inch by inch get that forward momentum. They are about halfway towards where they need to be to claim this entire series, and Malzassa, he's all the way forward. He's making sure no one can get in without suffering the wrath of his hammer, and now Team Singularity, they're on the edge. Falls making the emergency swap, no longer on the jump trap, wants to go on the Sombra instead to try and maybe contest this. Nerfed meeting him out in the open field as Reinhardt. Wolfig was laid down on the floor, but Nerfed with counter shadow. Wolfig goes down. Malzassa's a victim of a charge, and now he desperately needs to be healed up. I don't think it's going to be enough. Fat tried his best, holding M1 as hard as he could. He was breaking his way through the mouse, but it was Malzassa that broke first.
Yeah, Malzassa was the nail. Circumstance, and Nerf dropped down the hammer, and down he went. Now 44 seconds on the clock. This could be the break that Team Singularity needs. Morphic coming up on that Diva Bomb as well as is extremely good for them. Can use this to stall it out, and more than just the damage that comes out from the Diva Bomb, he will be able to remake afterwards. So that's 1,200 HP that you've got to eat through before you get to the point. I like this though. Rally comes out, 150 armor for everyone on 1 point. This is the final push for them. They could take it here and now like that.
Scalar's so hardy in the face of damage right now with all of that armor, and Obling's already under pressure. Malzassa's going to be applying that with a Tesla cannon, and Nerf has fallen. Team Singularity now about their main tank. They're going to have to feed their squishies onto the card to try and keep this in contestation. But Mono bringing out the clutch res. The Crusader is back. His Crusade isn't done yet. He's got Heathens to smash and smash And now, here comes the Transcendent Scaler, trying to keep 1Point in it. Horvik's on an emergency sombra to try and come back and turn off the lights. Both of the support ultimates are in session, but Oakling's cancelled them both out of the air and out of time, out of members and people. 1Point look like they may well fall here, just shy of their goal. On Route 66, seems Singularity will even up the series.
Two leg day. They are back in action. Singularity could take this. 1Point, a lot of pressure upon them now. Route 66 was their favored map. They couldn't quite get it. Next match will be coming up very, very shortly, though.
Our tiebreaker blank. It's Nepal. And you know what does very well on Nepal? Pretty much all the compositions Singularity have been running.
I know, right? The tank lineups. And there's a very small room when you come over to Temple, and that's difficult to get into when you're running a temp comp. And Nerf's shown his adaptability to play on Arista as well. So when we go on Sanctum, you can definitely see him play that. And I've yet to see anyone on 1Point play Arista yet. So this could be a map that favors Team Singularity.
Singularity coming back revitalized. And it's worth noting the mental fortitude which has been demonstrated here by Team Singularity, but they had a disappointing showing on attack there on Route 66, but they still rallied so well to come back on the defense. And they had such an impressive first point defense as well. And then when you invest so much and you still lose first point in overtime, that can also break a team mentally. But these guys just keep on coming back. And well, they've had a change in coaching staff recently. Made has been replaced with Syndustries, and I wonder if he's had anything to do with this reinvigorated roster mentality. Syndustries is a Dane, so being able to speak to a Danish team in their home language could be somewhat invigorating when talking to the coach.
Yeah, definitely. I know there was some issues there during the World Cup where the coaches wanted the Danish players to speak in English, so it could be a boon. It could be a boon. It's not a major thing, but it's definitely that is there. The thing that we need to really look at though is Team 1Point. They may have got a little bit too hungry for it on that final offensive push. Seemed to let their guard down a little bit, and that's when Molfig and Oberling struck, and they struck hard. And it just seemed like Nerf had been playing extremely strong this entire game. And like you said, he hasn't broken yet. The Crusader is still in action, still going forward, and still making those kills. Mono, oof, we got to talk about Mono, don't we? Like that.
Mono he's resurged. I don't know if that's a word. Like, derivative of resurgence, but he is a resurgent boy right now. And that res on to Nerfed, I believe, probably saved that map for Singularity there. Because they lost their main tank so early, and that could have spelled doom for them there. And that meant that they had to deal with Nerfed rather than deal with Oberling. And while they were dealing with Nerfed, Oberling dealt with both the support ultimates, the Transcendence and the Valkyrie. First one was waited out, and the second one was cancelled. Similarly, by a sniper shot.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, Oberling came back in full force, didn't let that almost bad showing on Hanamura take him down, and came back this one reinvigorated, so to speak, and took out these supports with ease. And although Fall, we saw him go a lot of times he went down to Horvik. Despite that, though, he is a constant pressure with the Riptide. He gets them very quickly. He places the traps very well, as we've seen a lot in these games. Team players on 1Point, they're always being caught out by this. It seems to me that the players on Singularity are starting to gel. I know they haven't been playing for a huge amount of time together, but they're starting to gel indeed.
There have been a couple of shakeups, especially when it comes to their support players. They've been through a few. They had Cave, and they had Honey, I believe, for one match at Contenders. And now they're finally stuck with Mono, who's floated between rosters as a Danish player as well, I believe it was. He was on Bazooka Puppies, then he was on Mosaic, and then Snakes, and then finally Singularity. But let's talk about what this means to Singularity as a win potentially. They are currently 0-2 in Contenders trials. If they lose this, they would have a huge uphill battle to try and get back into Contenders proper and prove themselves for a second round. But this may well be their chance to start the redemption tour blank, and it all begins on the pool.
If anyone wants this, it's Team Singularity. They do not want to go 0-3. That would be a pretty bad showing for them. And 1Point, they want one extra point to their name. They want to go 2-1 instead of 1-2. That's going to put them in a bit of a worse showing. At the moment, they've been playing very well, and it seems that they have done their homework on Team Singularity. And see if they can bring it back. 10 seconds now, running into Nepal. And it will be on this first map here, there will have a lot of battles in the middle, so it'll be down to these tanks and the tank play.
You know, I'm surprised not to see a Reinhardt, but both Nerfed and Mozas must be feeling pretty good about their Winstons right now. They're backed up with their respective pharmacy combos. Farl and Horvik going to be dogfighting in the air, battling for dominance, and we've got to see where these guys want to apply their damage. Looks like Farl is going to be all about trying to help out the ground battle. Horvik, now both of them going to be deciding to go for a quick dogfight.
The evasive maneuvers all this match. In fact, this set so far have been great from Farl, but Frost on the below ground finds Lin. Doesn't quite get Mono as he picks Lin back up again. A very clutch. They need that disc orb onto the players in the sky and onto the front line. Dropping down now will be Frost this side.
A lot of players on 1Point taking damage, but healers have to try and catch up now. Oberling under pressure once again, being attacked by both the Winston and the Tracer, and that's going to be a trade-off. Farl manages to get Frost, but only after Frost has claimed the Omnic Monk. However, 1Point, they need to get onto a point now because Team Singularity is starting to get capture percentage, and Farl's starting to get kills in the feed. That's a triple for him in the end, and he got a couple of others as well. Farl is coming alive, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the game.
Don't worry, guys. Farl's lock-on was just loading in as we came to this map, and as soon as it was on 100%, he found those shots. This shot onto poor Fat, though, was so insane. And then straight up into the sky. Farl has such a great understanding of how to play Pharah, but immediately Mono once again picks up Nerf, but not before Scaler can take down Oberling.
Frost is in the back lines. He's getting a little bit of poke damage onto the tanks here, making sure Nerf isn't retreating into safety, but into the pulse pistols of a wary time traveler. Down comes Horvik's Mirage, but he doesn't claim anything but his own life. Linda's going to be the one to claim the headshot on that, and he's going to claim Frost on the way out as well. He's a bloodthirsty Omnic Monk, and he's getting ready your DPS. Support, says who?
See, the thing with Shrine, right, is that there is so many opportunities to outplay your opponents because there are so many LOS opportunities. Taking away line of sight for 1Point seems to be really dragging them down here, and Frost is just on a goose chase with these supports at the moment, and quickly Lint just turns around, a couple of headshots, and you're out.
Horvik does not want any more of the dogfight. He's going in instead to play with the Genji. This means that Lin's going to be under a huge amount of pressure, but he does have a chance in this to help himself. He needs to go to help Farl as well, who lays down a barrage in the air that can't quite claim any lives. Must have had a bit too much health there. And now there comes the counter transcendence. Scaler keeping everyone nice and healthy. It's now or never for 1Point. Coming into one fight territory here for Team Singularity, but it does look like the Portuguese and mixed side are going to be picking up kill after kill. Red floods for kill feed, and despite a couple of wayward kills from the side of Team Singularity, 1Point may well be winning this one out.
Yeah, but Lint did go down in that fight, which is not going to be available until he gets back. Also, Scaler went down late as well, so he's going to be coming back, but they won't have the disc orb, which they really need as soon as Nerf jumps in. It will be Frost with the pulse bomb, though, and he's been finding great pulse bombs all game to take out key targets at the beginning of fights and really cripple the side of Team Singularity.
Surely the biggest target here has got to be Mono. They must know that the Valkyrie is ready and available to carry Team Singularity in here. But Oberling's going to open it up for double kill. Both supports blown away, disintegrated, evaporated. Get on out of here. And Farl's going to pile on. Bye-bye Horvik. Bye-bye 1Point. Bye-bye the point.
33% as well to 88. This means Team Singularity are going to be popping this one up to 99% before 1Point get on, and they're going to pressure is going to be on once again. They can't leave the point during the overtime, and Farl is very happy to just kind of corral around this side here, just hover silently, and the barrage is now online.
There's an exclamation mark laid down upon those asses, Simeon head. Horvik, what are you doing? You don't catch the rockets, but Farl's just slinging them too fast. It's a fastball from downtown, and it's a very, very unfortunate Genji tried to lay down this blade upon his master, but Lind and Farl were having none of it. Team Singularity up 1-0 on Nepal.
That's when Genji has the helmet. That's why he has it. He has it specifically to catch rockets from enemy Pharahs. It's a design choice. I promise.
It's definitely a design choice. The designs of Fall are being laid upon 1Point with just irresistible, judicious power. That man just made himself like a minute's worth of montage in one stage of Nepal.
I know, right? Are you gonna see Shrine? People are like, oh, what is this montage? Just Shrine? It'd be like, it's all one match as well as. But now we're moving on to here, and so we will have Fat on Lucio, and they just get them back to the point as soon as possible. Team Singularity also retaliating with the same kind of comp here. Both sides are running the similar, so it will be whoever gets the first pick first, who can build the ultimates, and we know Bruceson can do it. We've seen him do it before.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. The cage match has begun. Team Singularity and 1Point fighting for survival here. Nerf swinging for the fences, but he's going to get booped away. Malzasa solo, and he's going to be swung through now. Team Singularity, we know they love the 3-3, and they love the Earth Shatter as well. Frost turned into sweet Russian jelly against the wall by Nerf.
The hammer came round the corner, and you got to be doing some gymnastics to hit that kind of stuff, right? Nerf has been practicing that one all night, but now 1Point, they've got even more pressure. Scalar does find the Moira ult first, but that's mainly because 1Point took a massive amount of damage there. Bruceson 47% and 46% on Frost, lagging slightly behind Team Singularity, but it'll be Malzasa who has to find this huge Earth Shatter in this fight.
And he is going to do so. 3 hit the ground, but is he going to be able to get a charge off? No, it's on cooldown. That isn't exactly what you want. And there is the all-important self-destruct coming out. Morphic's not going to claim anyone, but he is going to get a quick refund on his mech. And Obling's there to try and pick up the trash. There he is with the laser, 90%, and the Graviton Surge in the back pocket in case it should be needed. 40% ticking over now for Team Singularity. It looks like they've really found their groove here on the pole.
Like you say, they are picking up the trash, but Obling is putting them in the recycling as we see how well he's energy conservant here. He has a relative round about 90
He's a
all
green
the
boy.
time. He's a green boy here. He is energy efficient right now. Immediately, down comes the Graviton in the trash once again.
That's what I call efficiency right there as well, Blank. 1 ultimate spells the doom of 6 players on 1Point. And they do have 5 ultimates in the bank, but Team Singularity are going to be pretty happy with that, with 70% on the clock. And they are about 1 or 2 fights away from claiming their first win in Contenders Trials.
What is Obling doing playing Contenders? He should be the ambassador of green energy. Now, 1Point, huge amount of ultimates accrued now. Bruce and Diva Matrix, down comes the rally, 150 extra armor to pump through, but Team Singularity still has their armor from the remaining fight. 85%, they have to go soon. Fire Strike is eaten by the Diva Matrix. In they come. Charge goes up and gets knocked backwards. He's on the point now.
Bruceson laid down, but the Sandbarrow was enough to protect him. Frost ready to lay down. The Groundsel Surgery waited for the self-destruct to come out, but he's still going to claim Bruceson. There's the other. Will he be able to get anything? It doesn't look like there's any kills being picked up there, but 1Point are going to pick up the slack in other places. Lin just standing still and accepting his fate there, happy with the 99% that they've accrued thus far. And 1Point will eventually win out a fight, but absolute perfection is demanded now if they want to stay in this match.
They have clawed this one back, but you are right. Team 1Point need to stay strong like Diamond in this fight if they want to win this one. Lint has the Coalescence, Fal has the Rally as well, so even more armor to chew through. Luckily, 1Point retains some of the armor from the last fight, but Fat is just have none of it, so he will go down early, and the Amp It Up is especially crucial in this fight. Keep them alive as long as possible. Ral pop very early though, late in the fight, sorry, didn't go in, but Malzasa gets stopped and taken down.
Malzas is down, that means Nerf can lay down the Earth Shatter. Frost laid on the floor, and that extra armor isn't nothing when you're going up against the charge of Nerf. Down goes the Graviton Surge, and down go members of 1.1 after the other. Nerf swinging again for the fences, and Scalar's come back with the Coalescence, but they're not on the point. You got to get on there, lads. Overtime, the wick is burning, and down go 1Point. They're running out of bodies, they're running out of health, they're running out of hope. Mozasa brings it back, trying to get rid of Fall, and he will succeed, but Mono is laying down the tinnitus. That's not healthy for your son. I'm not sure how long this can go on, Blank.
Oh, continue on the point now. Morphic going back in, but the rest of 1Point coming and converging on the point, but they don't get on it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, will be the first win for Team Singularity. This is Overwatch Contenders Trials, and this will be the first step on the blazing path of Team Singularity's beginning wins.
Meanwhile, it's a trip on the banana peel for 1Point. They are now 1 win and 2 losses in Contenders Trials. A lot of people had them towards the top of their power rankings, but unfortunately, not to be in these particular cases. They're going to be tied in terms of both having 1 win and 2 losses now, but we've done what we can, ladies and gentlemen. To break it down a bit further, I'll send you over to the desk with Kicked and Panda.
Grab a drink of water, guys. You deserve it. Great job. Man, I don't know how you get, like, I get a sore throat just like hosting here, eating my bagels, down in a Red Bull. These guys are just shouting for like 2 hours straight. I don't know how they do it, Panda. But let's talk about this match a little bit. Let's start on Hanamura. We go on Hanamura right away. 1Point had a pretty legendary defense, I would say, particularly Frost on the Widowmaker was a highlight for me. Why wasn't Singularity Esports able to crack that 1Point defense on point B?
Hanamura seems like such a long time ago at this point, but you know, it's on their stellar point B defense, they did house around Frost. I mean, I'm sitting here just looking at my notes in all caps and spacings. I have Frost just going thick and huge. He's just really popping off. He was really a big boy in that defense there, and it was fantastic to see when we saw Fat move over to Anna as well. Big healing coming out from that main healer now. As the dive was coming in from the defense, we saw Nano Boost use, big cleave damage across. The pressure itself wasn't able to actually be focused on to Frost Widowmaker or Fat's Anna. So the heals were either coming through, headshots were going to be pumping in, or the tickle damage was going to get nano boosted into a big fat Tesla cannon damage, man. It was just hard to really get an opening, and Singularity, they weren't able to get a full 6 body on point B to muster an attack.
So afterwards, we go on to Route 66, and then Nepal, and Singularity is resurgent, I guess is what it looked. They look kind of beat down, battered on Hanamura. You're kind of wondering if, despite, you know, some of the advantages on paper that we gave to Singularity with, you know, their kind of more tank-heavy comps and 1Point's inability to really be very effective with those in open division, they come around, they're resurgent. What did they do to turn it around here? What did you see change from Hanamura to Route 66 and Nepal?
I think this is where the download started to happen for Singularity. Going into these next few maps, we saw Obling and Fall, respectively. They were starting to gain a certain amount of information on how to adapt to the really strong forward tank line that was Malzaza and Brusen as well. We saw Foul on the defense, particular swapping over to Sombra last minute was a really key focus on my end. Getting key hacks onto Horthix Brigetta, really shutting down those cooldowns. But I think what really shut down the entirety of 1Point was Obling coming out on to Widowmaker for the defense. It was just continuously landing shots. Not exactly a map where you see Widowmaker being played, but when you can find those long sight lines and those headshots just being found, pressure is where pressure can be found, and it's very hard to even get that payload to cap on point B, right where you saw the golden box of victory.
So we're looking at two teams now that are 1 and 2, you know, 1Point coming from the open division, Singularity coming from the Contenders side of things. Here in Contenders Trials, Contenders Trials is, for those who aren't familiar with the format, have maybe followed Broadcast.gg through other things, kind of interesting. You take the top 4 teams from open division, you take the bottom 4 teams from Contenders, you have them go head to head. It's a round robin. There's $15,000 in, that's USD, by the way. I know we're doing EU here, but I don't have my quick maths conversion going on here. These teams win prize money based on their map wins and map losses. So they get $86 for a win, $38 for a loss, $67 for a draw. Again, this is on the pre-nerf Brigitte patch. Hanzo still has scatter arrow, right? So that's kind of, we just got to put that out there right away. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And given this format, I got to ask you, Panda, is there a team that you think really has the advantage going forward through the next 2 weeks of, I guess 1 week, right, of Contenders Trials?
I don't anymore, actually, because like our wonderful casters were saying, I also had 1.PoinT at the top part of my list, but today just kind of throws everything into shambles, really. I just don't really know how to take it at this point. It's really hard as we go back to the previous patch where Overwatch League is now, Tripod, so it's hard to judge where most of these teams are getting a focus for it. But if I had to really, stick to it, I would say that honestly, I don't have a solid pick right now because everything's just really thrown into a jumble pile. But I'm still sticking with some of the different teams down here as well. I'm just trying to pull them up. But honestly, Tripod, no, I don't have anybody at the top part of my list anymore because 1.PoinT, unfortunately, they got shut down today. So I'm kind of shut against the wall. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. Well, I do think it is about time for us to sign off here and go on to the next match. We're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and then we're going to be coming back with Samsung Morning Stars Blue, who are 2-0 in Contenders Trials, going up against another undefeated Contenders Trials team with We Have Org. Before we do, though, thank you guys for bearing with us on the broadcast. This is a really new format for a lot of us. And a huge thank you to Blizzard for allowing us to be able to stream the broadcast in any capacity, let's be honest. And before we go, let me tell you a little bit about Broadcast.gg. Broadcast.gg is an amazing resource to help you grow as a broadcaster. When you partner with Broadcast.gg, you have access to amazing opportunities to gain exposure, practice, and collaborate with other broadcasters. Make sure to follow Broadcast.gg on Twitter at broadcast.gg. That's right. Spell it out. DOT. Follow the channel here on Twitch right up there, and make sure to join our Discord by clicking on the panel below. We're going to be back in 10 minutes for Samsung Morning Stars Blue, and we have org. Sorry. And thanks, Panda. I'm going to be back with you shortly. Great job to Leg Day and Blank. Make sure to hit their socials there in the chat when they come up. And we'll see you guys in 10 minutes for some more Contenders Trials action.